Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. TGIF. It's Friday morning, August the 8th. Wow. I'm here in Melbourne, Florida. This morning, it's a little rainy, so I can't say live from sunny Melbourne, but if you don't like the weather, wait a minute, and it will probably be sunny before the day is out. So welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you here at Morning Coffee with Mitch. And speaking of coffee, drink it if you got it. Let me push the button here so you can see me drinking my coffee. Wow, this is my second cup. I had my first cup of coffee, I hate to tell you how early, and it didn't taste as good as this because it had leucine in it. So I've been waiting for this. Ah, that's good. And I am enjoying being highly caffeinated. I'm enjoying it. Wow, it's been interesting, and I'll give you an update. So I did my routine this morning. I got out of bed at 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Right, Amy says, nice legs. Well, thank you, Amy. Thank you. Appreciate that. Some people tell me they're chicken legs. 5 minutes after 4, I woke up. For the first time in a long, long time, I slept straight through. And I was a little disoriented when I woke up because it's strange. I didn't have a big urge to go to the bathroom. So evidently, I'm keeping more water in my cells and losing less of it overnight, which I think is a good thing. But I slept straight through from about 10 o'clock when I fell asleep to 4 in the morning. That's about 6 hours. And I was a little disoriented because I'm not used to that. I usually wake up between 2 and 3. I've been doing that for years. Generally, get up, go to the bathroom. That's what happens when you become old. But I didn't last night. So I got up this morning, and I went, got dressed, and went out and did my little morning routine. Mixed up the 40 ounces of electrolyte mix. I drank a bunch of it first thing. Made my coffee. About a half hour later, I put the leucine in the cup, mixed up the coffee, sat down. It still wasn't even 5 o'clock yet. And turned on the news, and that lasted about 2 minutes, and then I turned on YouTube. I drank my coffee with the leucine, bitter as it was. It's not that bad. Get used to it. And then I made a decision and made a little change. I did not work out this morning. I worked out the previous 2 mornings, and I'm going to go back to the old sage advice about you need to allow your body to recover and rebuild, which means take a day off between workouts unless you're working out very hard. And one day you do chest, the next day you do legs, the next day you do abs, and then you cycle through them. But allow these muscles time to actually recover and rebuild, because otherwise you just keep tearing them down. So I'm going to go back to this exercising every other day, because the workout I do right now, I get all the muscle groups I want to. I'm not working out like a gym rat. And I think that might be smart. I'm not getting sore at all, but I think on Carnivore, we recover fast anyway. So we'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to move the workouts to every other day, 3-4 times a week, which I think is more than enough. So today I drank the coffee with the leucine, which still does its thing. Still hydrates the cells. It still promotes protein synthesis and will still do what it's supposed to do to rebuild the muscles, even if I don't work out, because one thing pretty much independent of the other. So there we go. We'll see what happens. I'm happy to report that my eyesight this morning is every bit as sharp and clear as it was yesterday, so that's the same. I have plenty of energy and I feel great. So day number 3, not that it's been long enough, but day number 3 so far, so good. I'll drink to that. And it seemed kind of strange, but it seemed like I had to wait around for Kilts to start at 6 o'clock. And I did watch the whole his whole show, and it was a good one this morning. It was a good one. It was a good one. He had Stephen Thomas, and I don't know him, but I've known of him. He and Richard Smith are those two British guys that are both very knowledgeable and been around on YouTube for quite a while, and it was very interesting. And Stephen was a great guest, and probably one of the more enjoyable and informative shows that Kelsey put on that I've seen lately. And I think that Stephen is a very, very sharp guy, and certainly thinks a lot along the lines that I think in figuring out the whys and the simplest way to make it make sense, because anybody can actually overcomplicate it, and that's he kind of balances out Richard Smith, who, if he's not wandering down some biological pathway, he's just not happy, and using all the big words. And I was happy to hear Stephen say this morning that they confuse it with the big words. You don't need big words. The concepts are so simple. I said, that boy, keep it simple. Keep it simple. It is simple. Eat meat. Don't eat plants. You know, what else you need to know? Anything else is just going to confuse you. But if you want to be on YouTube and you want to have a show every day and you want to do so, you can't just come on and say, okay, folks, good morning. How are you? Eat meat. See you later. That's just not going to do it. So the nature of the show business aspect of it necessitates that we complicate it. Or else what do we got to talk about or argue about or debate about? And there's no shortage of that. So I enjoyed that. Spiritual Nomad. Brooks says, Rick, that would be interesting. Playlist. Oh, okay. You're talking to each other. Well, YouTube did not steal the evening chat away that's there this morning. So I don't have a whole lot of show notes today. So we'll get right to it. Lori first, one in last night about 6:30, waiting for the live stream, the private community live stream. Was a hoot last night. Excuse me. Wild mustache hair growing up my nose. We had a great time. We had a great attendance. Right off the bat, we had 10 people on the screen. Rick was there. And everybody marveled. And I was flattered. We had a great time. Greg, I hate to start trying to name off people because I'll miss somebody. And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But we had Peter. These are people that were actually in the windows on the screen. We had Peter. We had Tuka. We had Greg Smith. We had Tina Schweikerath. We had Loretta in, but she had internet connections, as did Thomas, who came in but lost his internet connection pretty quick. We had Mark Whistler was there. We had Kelly. Kelly was there, and Stephen Albach chimed in a little later. I know I'm missing somebody, and they're going to feel bad. But I think, and me, I was there. It was great fun. It was great fun, very lively. Maybe there's hope for that private community yet to really become a thing that people are happy to be in. And it's a great community, great community, and very enjoyable. Anyway, Lori was there last night, and Peter, how you doing, Peter? Mandy, proud American, last night checked in here. Smoothie, Gem about 10:30 says, I have a doctor's appointment in the morning. Now, why would you want to do a thing like that, Jim? I know you probably have to, but man, the more I learn, the less and less I would have any contact with those people. Rick said good night, and Lady June chimed in at 12:25, but that's England Carnivore Police. Brian Dish chimed in the middle of the night. Now, Brian was 5:19 this morning. Good morning. And starting off this morning, we have Mike Seeley, United Carnivore, and Rick was back this morning, and Thomas is here, and Carnivore Mama. Good morning from Louisiana. Carnivore Mama, welcome. First time I've actually caught the live morning coffee. Yes, and I heard, I saw a comment go by as I was sitting here waiting for the countdown to start. And on the private streams, I do a 5-minute countdown where you're just looking at the back of my head, basically, or at a side view of me. And I play about 5 minutes of music to give people time to see that it's actually live, to get notified that it's live, and join in. And that way, after the 5 minutes, your audience is usually in place. But the downside of that is you got a 5-minute countdown. A lot of people don't like it. Some people do like it. And I think it Lori said this morning she likes the 5 minutes of music while you're waiting. And I can do that. The problem with that is that on a live stream that gets replayed a lot, either I have to try to edit out that first 5 minutes from the replay, which is a pain, or people drop out before they watch anything because they got a stupid 5 minutes. So I'm going to leave it like it is, a 30-second countdown for the live streams in the morning, and I'll do the 5-minute thing whenever we do an evening live stream, especially the private community. Mike Silly Sr. chimed in. Brian B. Matt is here this morning. How you doing? Everybody's talking to each other already. Doesn't take you guys long. Can evidently continue the conversation from Kiltsy, or maybe Aaron or somebody had a live stream in between. You guys are looking like you're basically a mobile party going from one place to another. Never missing a beat. Denise, good morning to you. Denise Kink is here. Sandy Blythe is here. And Smoothie's here this morning for Grandma checked in. Michael Pregler. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. Girl, Grandma doesn't know if she can stay long. Oh, we hope you can. We hope you can. And saying hello, Terry Sue is here. Good morning, Mitch, and all you meat-atomes. That's a new one. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's cringeworthy. Okay. It sounds like you did that, so we don't have to. Tuka, good morning, Tuka. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you and Tuka, Michael, and Smoothie, and Terry Sue, and we're into it. We're into it. Terry Sue says, I'm running out of meat words. Well, you can start over again. You can start to recycle them. There's only so many meat words, I imagine. And at 8:20, Rick chimed in again. Wait a minute. Here you go, Rick. Let me do that again. All right. One of those was for last night as well. Okay. Hey, Robert Morris. How you doing, Robert? Good morning. Ocean City, Maryland. Good to see you. Good to see you. Getting anywhere near? No. You guys are hot and heavy. You made it to 8:22. You don't wait. This chat waits for no man. I'll tell you. Rick and Tuka and Terry and Bacon Baby's here. How you doing? Good morning to you. I'm trying to find somebody I haven't said hello to yet. Loretta's here. Hi, Loretta. How you doing? It was good to see you briefly last night. Maybe next week the internet will treat you more kindly. Aaron is here. Hi, Aaron. How you doing? Aaron says, it's me, Aaron. That sounds familiar. Drink it if you got it. That even sounds more familiar. But I will be happy to. Graceful Lily is here. Hi, Lily. Good morning to you. 8:28. We're up to, and everybody's just, come on, God, Jen. 8:28. Terry Sue, Rick, VJS. How you doing? Good morning, VJS. Terry Sue, did you scratch your eye? Uh-oh. Hope it's all right. And 8:29, Scotter chimed in. How you doing? And Lori Weitzel is here. Hi, Lori. Good morning, Mitch. And Mitch Fitz. It doesn't get any better than this. Scotter says bacon in the oven golf day for me. Life is good. Life is good. And Lizzie chimed in at 8:29. 8:29. And CB is here. How you doing, CB? Good to see you. And drum roll, please. The winner this morning and still champion, Smoothie 420. John, congratulations. You are the one that did it this morning, followed by Lady June and Thomas and Rick and Tuka and Scotter at 8:30. Terry Sue, Bacon Baby. Babs. Hola, Babs. How are you? At 8:30. Lori and Scotter again. And Peter at 8:30. And Bacon Baby again, 8:30. And oh my gosh, how are you, Scotter again? VJS again, still 8:30. Holy cow, everybody's diving on that button. Bacon Baby. Thomas, Target Bright, Graceful Lily, Lori. Wow, what a spike. Gina Cav is here. How you doing? And Lady June with the first question of the morning. What happened to the posh shirts? Nothing. I'll do that again. But it just so happens I'm comfortable in my T-shirt. And today I am wearing my Brisketarian T-shirt, and it says, because brisket never disappoints. Back to you, Mitch. Thank you, Mitch. A lot of guys named Mitch around here. And the first at 8:31, that was Lady June with that question. So welcome, everybody. welcome everybody. What's the topic of conversation this morning? If you've got questions, put them in the chat for me. QQQ. Let me get rid of that banner. Scrolling along down there. Remember to do that. 4 o'clock in the morning. Half a day's gone by already. It's not even 9 o'clock yet. Wow. I'm feeling very energetic, and I'm loving it. I want to be able to credit this new morning routine of mine: drinking the coffee, drinking the caffeine, taking the leucine. I know it's going to take time, and I still can't say for sure if it's the caffeine or the leucine, or it really is working. It really is a combination of both. We'll see. The fact that I'm retaining more water is probably a good thing because I have no edema, not swelling up. My ankles don't swell, my feet don't swell, none of that. But I know this is medical sounding, but the frequency of my urges to go to the bathroom are decreasing back to what would be normal for me. Because recovering from the stroke, I found that always having to run to the bathroom. And it changed 3 days ago when I started. I'm drinking more fluid. So the fluids evidently are doing what they're supposed to do. Because I'm definitely more energetic. Tina says, I can't see messages for some reason, but Mitch, I heard you say Ocean City, Maryland. I am an hour from Ocean. Yes, you are. That was one of the chatters here. I don't recall offhand who it was. Robert Warrist. It was Robert Warrist. So he's a neighbor of yours. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, 1 hour, Ocean City, Maryland. Yeah, I know you're over there somewhere. Laurie says, I love it when Mitch says, back to you, Mitch. Well, that's what it is. It's a spoof. It's a spoof of how news anchors work. And we've all seen it. They have multiple cameras. And they switch the cameras. And while they're switching the cameras, they turn and face the camera. And then they say, back to you, John. And then as they turn, the camera view switches back to the front view. It's usually somebody else. But when you do it all by yourself, I can't resist that. I do it in video sometimes too. It's the closet comedian in me, I guess. Where was I? John Schaefer, 832. Let's get down the road. Put QQQs in there. I'll try to find them. And I'm sure we'll find something to talk about. Or I'll find something to rant about. One or the other. You can count on it. I like to think this is not your average live stream that you see here. Never know what you're going to get. Like a box of chocolates, like Forrest Gump said. John Schaefer, good morning. Mitch and Old Doc says my cataracts from sugar years ago approved yesterday for an operation. Waited for VA for 8 years. I know. And it's not just the VA. You can't get anything done. You can't even get your doctor on the phone without waiting 3 months for a return call. And it's not going to get any better. They are every day. I turn the news on. At 10 minutes to, no. 4:20, 4:30 or something. The first station, I have 2 news stations that I get from my antenna. They're local. One of them is Fox, local Fox affiliate. The other is the ABC affiliate in Orlando. The TV was tuned to the ABC affiliate. The first thing that comes on right in the middle of it when I heard a drug commercial. A drug commercial. I didn't pay much attention to which one it was, but they were hot and heavy into it. And ask your doctor if that. But I thought, oh shit. Let me see what's on Fox. I turned over to Fox. A different drug commercial. Now it shows you how things have changed, because it always used to be lawyers, slip and fall lawyers, car accident lawyers, workers' comp lawyers. This lawyer, that lawyer, the other lawyer. Dan got me $800 million. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, and one after another. And we got them here in Central Florida. We got the biggest in the country, headquartered right here. We got Morgan and Morgan right here. Dan Dula right here. We got them all. New York and big cities have nothing on us. And they used to dominate. Out of every 10 commercials, 8 of them were lawyers. You'd have 3 or 4 of them in a row. And then after 3 or 4 lawyer commercials, the anchor would come on and say, today's helicopter traffic report is brought to you by yet a different lawyer than the 6 commercials we just ran for all those lawyers that basically keep us in business. Now, there's more drug ads, more surgery ads, hospital ads, emergency room ads, nursing school ads. They dominate. And that only happened in the past year or two. The medical business is taking over everything. And the reason is that you are getting sicker and sicker, and they keep coming up with more and more ways to take your money, or even easier, money from whoever it is that happens to insure you. And usually it ends up being the federal government and the taxpayer somehow. That's a bad trend. The worst part of it isn't so much the fact that it takes so long to get help. It's the fact we're headed to the point where you won't be able to get help completely, like in some of these other countries. Like he said, it took 8 years for the VA to approve a surgery. That's not health care at all. And what do people do? I'll tell you what I do. I refuse to play that game anymore. If I think I have something wrong with me, even though they say not, I'm going to go to the emergency room. The one-stop shop. You may not get the greatest care, but at least you get it. It gets you in there. Need an x-ray? Boom, wheel you over. Need a CAT scan? Wheel you over. Need blood test? Right here. How long you got to wait for the results? 20 minutes, an hour. We'll get it back. How long you got to wait for the neurologist to read the CAT scan? The CAT scan? Right away. Now, again, these maybe Doogie Howser, MD, right out of medical school, but at least in a few hours, or 8 hours, or however short it is compared to the normal drill you got to go through to find out what's wrong with you, you at least get some kind of an answer. Is it ideal? No. But go to your doctor. Your doctor says, you need to see a specialist. You called a specialist. I've done this. Well, the doctor's not taking any new patients now. Well, what am I supposed to do? You were referred. Well, the soonest we can see you is in 7 months. Morning or afternoon better for you. And then you wait to 7 months, and you go to the doctor, he says, well, I can't really tell. We got to order this x-ray, that scan, and these series of blood tests. So call the lab, make an appointment. You call the lab, and you never get seen, and you die. It never gets fixed. And that's where we're going. And we're going that way because they just keep making us sicker, and we just keep needing more and more and more and more of this stuff. And there aren't enough providers, and there aren't enough appointments. And how dare you expect that doctor to take care of you on Wednesday? Don't you know he's got a standing golf appointment. That's it. That's what we're faced with. So, as they talked about, they talked about on Kelsey this morning with Thomas, take charge of your own health. No more than your doctor knows. Know that when your doctor says, like my doctor said, when I had my kidney stones, this quack of a urologist, this know-nothing, ignorant quack of a neurologist told me I was in stage 2 kidney failure. And that I needed to go and see a nephrologist because it wasn't looking good for me. Why did he say I was in stage 2 kidney failure? This is important. If I hadn't known more than he did, if I had just bought into the fact that when you try to figure out from numbers, and the particular number that he was talking about was my eGFR, which stands for estimated glomerular filtration rate. It's a marker of kidney failure. But the key, and this is so important, it's a marker of kidney failure in sick people who are burning and living on sugar. Because when you're a meat eater, none of those numbers that apply to sugar burners, not your LDL, not your creatinine levels, not your eGFR, none of them are going to be within their normal range of sick people. And they're meaningless. Like my high LDL is meaningless. It's a sign of my health. And what happens is this. You have a higher creatinine level because you're utilizing a lot more protein. There's nothing wrong with your kidneys. And they talked about this morning, and I was happy to hear it. There's nothing wrong, but your eGFR numbers are down around 50 or 60, and that means like stage 2 or stage 3 liver failure. But my creatinine is always 3 times what they say it's supposed to be, and my kidneys working just fine, especially since I got rid of the kidney stones. There's another test that they can do that they never do, and half of them haven't even heard of it. And when they do that test, your kidney performance indicates as stellar. So again, they go by ignorance, they go by lumping you in with all the sick people that are eating donuts all day, 8 times a day, and because that affects your creatinine and they don't measure GFR, they estimate it, and their formulas, the same thing with cholesterol, they don't measure cholesterol. They don't measure cholesterol at all. They weigh lipoproteins and estimate the amount of cholesterol. If your numbers, because you're a healthy guy, don't happen to fit in with their numbers of the average of all the sick people, they find a way to want to bring you into the system and schedule you for a kidney transplant. It's absurd, it's dangerous, and the only defense we have against it now is education. And to know these things and talk about these things. Most of us don't want to know that much detail. We basically want to know, just tell me what I got to do. I don't care why. I trust you. Tell me what I want, what you want. Okay, I'll tell you. But then you have to ignore all the numbers, or most of them. And they scare you. That's why I don't want blood tests. I don't want any of that shit. I know a lot of people have to have them, but I don't want them. I'll tell you when I'm sick. I'll know. I'll feel it. But don't judge me by the standards you set for all the sick people. And look what they're doing to these people. Customers for life. It is atrocious. And the thing that we can do that would be best for us is learn learn all of these different pitfalls that they use. We talk a lot about cholesterol and LDL and how to ignore it, and everybody says, Ken Berry says, it's not important. It's not important if you're eating meat and you're on a carnivore and you lose weight. The cholesterol does not matter. It's not cholesterol anyway. It's lipoproteins. You need them high. The studies show that when they're high, you live longer. But they don't talk about all the other things that they do to us, like you did this morning. And that's something that I faced. Sitting there listening to a urologist tell me that my kidneys are failing. These people should be put in jail. Talk about malpractice. This ignorance, and I do get mad about it, and I do get angry about it, because all the things that I've had wrong with me are the fault of bad information from medical doctors. And I've been trying all my life to stay healthy, not knowing what I should believe and what I shouldn't. And it makes it very, very, very hard. And I don't, I can't give medical advice on here because I don't know you. So I tell you about me. Smoothie says, is eight scoops right about okay? Yes, it was. 8 level tablespoons for about 32 ounces of coffee. It's fine. It's delicious. Is it the best coffee I've ever had? No, but it's good enough to get started, because the most important thing about this regimen is not how whether the coffee tastes the best. It's the health aspects of it. Is it doing the job? And I think it is so far. But 3 days. I'm just enjoying the fact that I can read the shit on the screen without. I went and blame my glasses on it. My eyes are focusing much better. That's a very strange thing to happen, just like the click of a switch. All right, now I've sufficiently got behind. I am officially almost a half an hour behind. Steve Rogers is here. Hi, Steve. How you doing? Question from Brooke. Question, how much iodine do you take, and did you test your levels first? No, I don't think you can test iodine levels. Doesn't going to mean much. It's probably one of those things that is regulated so tightly, and you basically, because if you're going to test these things, you got to test your blood. Your body regulates levels of most things in your blood, and when it comes to minerals, stores the extra away. But we don't have fuel gauges. We don't know how much we got stored away. This is a problem in sodium, magnesium, but all those things you get levels, but what do they really mean? And do you really need to know that stuff? I don't think so. But I do change my mind occasionally about things. So, of course, other factors came in. Like, I have to consider the fact that I'm getting old. That changes things. Josephine C's here. How you doing? But I take about every other day. I remember to do it. Put a couple drops of Lugol's in my coffee. I don't have any symptoms of iodine deficiency, and I'm sure Ken Berry and some others have some great videos that say, here are the 7 clues if you have iodine deficiency. So you can just search for them. Just go in the Google search bar and type iodine deficiency. Or if you want to see what Ken Berry has to say Ken Berry iodine deficiency. And you'll come up with a video or two. They'll answer all the fine points of it, because that's what they do. It's not what I do. I work in broader strokes, not being a doctor. One of the smart, that's what I was, when I was a kid, I was going to be a doctor. One of the smartest decisions I ever made in my life was probably not being a doctor and not getting that particular education, which I probably would have long been gone if I had taken all that advice all my life, bought into that stuff. Not been like Ken Berry, who after 10 years of killing people finally said, there's something wrong with this picture. I'm doing the same thing that I'm advising my patients to do, and I weigh 300 pounds and I'm almost a diabetic. What's wrong with this picture? And doing about face. Jeff Johnson, good morning to you. Good morning to you. All right, I'm just now getting started. Tuka says, how are you, boss? I'm fine, Tuka, as usual. I see that you're fine, too. I've been reading your chatting. Tuka's talking to virtually everybody. Virtually everybody. Princess. Even more interesting on the YouTube channels who have never interviewed me. Yeah. Hey, well, they knew about you this morning. You're becoming a star. And DS111 says, question, Dr. Tan Cowan on Jesse Chappus's channel said heart attacks and strokes are like muscle cramps from lactic acid. Is this quackery? Wait a minute. Is it quackery? A heart attack is an infarction. The way we think about heart attacks, a myocardial infarction. You can have an infarction in any muscle of your body. If any of you remember the TV show House, he had a bum leg. He was in constant pain. He was addicted to painkillers, Vicodin. The pain was never ending, and that was muscle death. Muscle death. That's an infarction, where because of a clot or some other thing, blood flow is cut off to the muscle, and the muscle dies. And from my understanding, not being a cardiologist who couldn't possibly know anything about medicine, because, as one of my esteemed commenters said the other day, you are not educated because you didn't go to medical school or whatever, or you're not a scientist, because how could you understand science when you're not a scientist? My understanding of heart attacks is heart muscle dies because it's deprived of oxygen for a certain period of time, and it never comes back. And it's incredibly painful. And that's a heart attack. That's not what a leg cramp is. A leg cramp, right, is buildup of lactic acid. So no, I don't think that's true. But there may be some convoluted roundabout pathway where they can claim that that's true, or it might have some similarities. But that would be my obvious take on it from the little that I know about things like myocardial infarctions. So there you are. I could be wrong, though. He might be right. I mean, they're big time experts, aren't they? Or maybe they're just trying to give somebody a little analogy that maybe they think they would understand. But I couldn't just make that blanket statement that your heart got a cramp, and that's what a heart attack is. That doesn't make any sense at all. If that was the case, everybody would be having heart attacks all night long. I have leg cramps, so I'm lack of electrolytes, most likely, but my legs are destroyed and useless. The muscles has not died. Lewis, right. Thank you, Tina. Lewis was there. Sorry, Lewis. Lewis was there last night, too. I know, I always forget. Yeah, Rick says Lewis for sure. I always forget somebody. I have an okay memory, but I'm fallible like everybody else. And Chris said the batter's still going. Yes, it is. Thank you for reminding me. Appreciate it. Sandy Blythe is here. How you doing? And Kurt Meathead, good morning to you. Sue Smokey Bear Lover. Grace Lily. Let's see. Question, bacon, baby, lots of cues. Vegan friends annoying me with the China study. No matter what the discussion is, they just yell, China study. I'm so sick of it all. Do you have a good argument? No. You know what my good argument is with a vegan? I think go away. I think go away. Go away. You're ignorant. You're a fool. Go away. You think you could change my mind? I don't debate. When have you ever heard me face to face debating somebody that disagrees with me? Have you ever? I don't think so. I don't debate people. I don't care if they disagree with me. I don't give a shit if they kill themselves. Honestly. I'm not fighting against somebody's deep-held beliefs and ideology. I'm not arguing with somebody if they're a liberal to try to show them why I think they're wrong. If they're an animal rights activist, I'm not going to try to convince them it's okay to eat meat by spending the rest of my life going through knocking down their silly talking points and spin on everything that's true because it doesn't fit with their agenda. I don't need that. I don't want that. The big problem with what you just said, unfortunately in this world, is the term vegan friends. Right there, you got an oxymoron. You have a friend, and worse, even a relative or a spouse, who vehemently disagrees with the way you have chosen to live your life. I cannot be friends with people like that. I can be acquaintances. I can be cordial to them. But I will never have any respect for their intelligence. And I could be wrong too, but we're all entitled to our opinions. So you can't change their mind. Even worse than the China study are this blue zone crap that they keep coming up with. It's all spin, all propaganda, all agenda. The most frustrating thing in the world is trying to change somebody's ideology. You may as well try to turn a Catholic into a Hindu. And they tried. Hence, the missionary was born. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not your job to fix people who don't agree with you. It is frustrating. Don't be a missionary. Don't go knocking on people's doors telling them that they need to be a Jehovah's Witness. Let everybody do what they want, believe what they want. You can tell them what you're doing. If they come to you and say, it looks pretty good, man, because you weigh 140 pounds and I weigh 640 pounds. Obviously, I might learn something from you. Then, do everything you can to help that person. But don't ever try to help somebody that disagrees with the very basic fundamentals of how you live your life and what you've discovered works and the fact that it does work. You're not going to change your mind. You'll never change theirs. Ask me how I know that. A lifetime of battle. Battle against the propaganda. It's why I won't argue with a doctor. I don't want to try to educate the doctor. I don't care if the doctor kills all the rest of his patients, because as long as I don't let him kill me. Does that make you loved by everybody? No. I went into the hospital. You got to be an advocate for yourself, they said. Okay, you're a moron. I'm going to advocate for myself. You're wrong. I don't agree with you. Don't you touch me. Well, they've told me to advocate for myself, so I did, but that didn't stop them from declaring that I was a combative patient. Yeah, I combat ignorance, doc. I had the guy whose mission, honest to God, can't make this up. This guy's mission, this doctor who came in and saw me every night, was such a statin pusher. I'd never seen anybody like this. And he said that he's working on any committee and everything he can do. He's lobbying governments to make sure that every municipality in this country puts statins in all the drinking water. He was convinced that that would stop all heart disease. That, my friends, is beyond ignorance, beyond arrogance, all the way to flaming stupidity and gullibility, buying into all the shit that the medical community and their salespeople convinced him was true. And this is my doctor, which is why when I left the hospital, I took every prescription that they sent me home with and threw it away and decided I'm taking no drugs except a little baby aspirin as a thin your blood out, because that made sense to me. They wanted me on drugs that would have ended my life prematurely, made me sick. Blood pressure drugs, statins, all this crap that I don't need. And if I'm wrong and keel over dead one day, so be it. So be it. But I don't let people, especially when I know better. I'll listen to anybody's opinion. But if I already know better and I've been over that ground, like you have with the China studies, just say, I'm sorry, I disagree. If you want to be my friend, let's just disagree, or let's just agree to disagree on that point and never talk about it again. Okay? I won't try to convince you that you're a fool. Don't try to convince me that I'm a fool. Let's just have more respect for each other than that. And if you happen to lose a friend over that difference, they weren't that much of a friend after all. Much better to have friends that share your point of view than people that think you're stupid because you believe what you believe. Seek out the people who are like-minded. It's a much easier time in life. And you actually may learn something. Good question, though. Good question. Yeah, and I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I hope this isn't your best friend in the world. At least it's not living in your house. And you don't have to listen to that all the time or trying to convince you on a daily basis that they care about you so much that they can't stand to see you destroying your health by eating all that meat and fat, because everybody knows how bad that is. Can you imagine living with that every day? Michael Braley wants to know what my thoughts are on Aegis, AGES. Okay, Michael. Advanced glycation end products, AGE. The name about says it all. First of all, they're bad. They're bad. Okay? AGs are bad. If you weren't glycating everything in your body, you wouldn't have any of them. And they cause harm. Just like things that get oxidized cause harm. LDL, when it becomes glycated, isn't the sugar thing that glomps on it may cover up the ApoB protein. And when it gets back to the liver says, what are you? And the LDL says, I'm a lipoprotein. The liver says, no, you're not. You're supposed to have an ApoB molecule that I can recognize, let you back in. Take you back in so we can fill you up again and send you out. But I don't see it. Well, if the stupid sugar has glommed itself over me, well, we're sorry. But we have no use for you anymore. Out with you, get into the blood. Get small and dense, cause heart disease. I don't teach you to eat all that sugar. So I'm not a big expert on ages. I know that I don't want them. That's all you need to know, I think. I think it's not up to us to be aware of all these things in our body and try to figure out some way to measure them and try to figure out some way to counteract the bad effects of them. I think we need to know more of the basics. That is, don't eat sugar, don't eat plants, and you don't have to worry about that. I think Michael, we take all of these things way too technical for the average person. It's too much to keep up with. Everybody makes this eating stuff and this blood testing stuff and this, that, and the other thing. And you got to the point where you have so much on your mind. You have to become a rocket scientist, or how else are you going to keep up with it? We're not built for that. We're built to let it happen and ignore it. We should concentrate all our efforts, I think. Is what I try to do. All of our efforts. Yeah. Learn what you can about it. But the most important thing to learn is what not to eat and why. And it's very simple. Don't eat plants, don't eat sugar. Everything you need from meat, your body will make. Whatever. Don't listen to stupid arguments from stupid people who don't understand that we make. Yes, the human body needs sugar. Yes. I'll use Kilsey's favorite word here. There is such a thing as a glycocalyx lining our artery walls. Anytime you see the word glyco anything, it indicates sugar. Our body needs these. They're in every cell in our body. Do we need to eat sugar? No. No. We don't need to eat anything except food that we've been eating for millions of years. Because I got news for you. Good old Grok in the cave 1.5 million years ago did not know what glycocalyx meant, or did he care? Instinctually, he knew that he needed to keep his spear sharp and get his ass out of bed every once in a while and chase these big hairy animals. That was the only thing he needed to be concerned about. We're so far down a bad road when it comes to the information and the things we worry about. And if you never heard about advanced glycation end products, you would be just as healthy if you only just ate meat, avoided plants and sugars. Unless you're in a life or death survival situation like our ancestors were, where they had to eat some of this stuff just to make it through till the next hunt succeeded. Mitch needs to do a brisket tutorial. My last year, I'm not a big brisket person. I eat brisket at Sonny's Barbecue when my son and I go out for lunch. I'm not into these 24-hour. I don't mind throwing something in a CV overnight, but in a sous vide. But these long, fabulously complicated barbecue routines of getting the smoker and monitoring it and watching it and wrapping it and unwrapping it and rubbing it down with this and rubbing it down with that. And, it's a day's work to make a brisket. Just throw a ribeye in the air fryer. Unless it's a hobby of yours. Or you got a YouTube channel and you need to come up with ways to entertain your fans. James B says, how you doing? You added iodine? Yes, I do. A couple drops every other day or so in my coffee as a prophylactic measure. I don't have any reason to believe I might need it, but I do have a reason to believe that with the current sad state of monocrop farming, factory farming of animals, that the cows are just not eating the grass that's growing in the soil that has the iodine, and therefore we're not getting it. Same thing with magnesium, potassium, and salt, and all the rest. So minerals and electrolytes, unfortunately, because of the way the world is, and the number of people in the world that need to be fed, and the slop that they're manufacturing for us to eat, odds are it's a safe bet to say, I'm probably not getting enough iodine, so maybe it couldn't hurt if I took a little, because the downside is I'll never take enough to overdose on it and cause harm. So that's called a prophylactic action. And we all know what the word prophylactic means because we're grown-ups. Protection. Protection, friends. In case you don't get the reference. Lori, Stephanie. What did Stephanie do? Everybody say good morning to everybody. I'm at 8:51. 8:51. Still 30 minutes, 40 minutes behind. Wow. But I go on. You people are still listening, so I'm not going to. Angel, put 3 Q's in your question. Angel at Mitch. Okay. Here's the question, I guess. If you don't mind me asking, how's the sleep quality? I talked about that a little earlier. You may not have been here. I said basically that my sleep quality has been okay, but I can't remember the last time I went through a complete night where I went to bed, shut my eyes, opened my eyes, the sun's shining, and it's morning. Well, as you get older, it's just, as the older I got, the more often I'd wake up in the middle of the night. A lot of times I have to go to the bathroom because that happens to older men too. And I'm definitely an older man, I suppose. Not the oldest man yet, but I'm striving for it. I started this leucine thing, and one of the main effects of this protocol that I put myself on, of taking the 5 grams of leucine with my first cup of coffee after I have hydrated thoroughly first thing, before anything. I'd be putting a lot of liquid in my body right off the bat, first thing in the morning. And if you've been following my adventure in that, you realize there's a method to that madness, and that method is to stimulate mTOR. If you don't know what that is, I can't get into that now. And mTOR stimulates muscle protein synthesis, and it drives water into the muscle cells and hydrates them, which is what you want. So this morning routine of mine is now doing those things, and evidently is doing it because I'm seeing some results from it. And the main result is the frequency of urination has cut way back. And the first time in God knows how many years, last night, I did not wake up. I woke up at 4 in the morning after 6 hours of sleep, which is more than I need, and I'm raring to go. I just got out of bed. My day started at 4. I'm retaining, my cells aren't dumping the water as easily as they did, and that's a good thing. So, and I have no edema, no swelling. It's not like I've swollen ankles or anything. It's just my body is working like it did when it was younger, and that's the idea. So, been doing it for 3 days. We'll see, but that's the answer to that question, and it's a new thing for me to not have to go that often. So, we'll see what happens. Gary Arzimendi is here. How you doing, Gary? Good to see you. You people have briskets in the oven, it says. Aunt B, good morning to you, Aunt B. Glad to see you here. CB says, Mitch, that was a great redneck accent impression. Yeah, I do that sometimes. I don't know which one you're referring to, but thank you, CB. Thank you, CB. I'm not an impressionist, but sometimes I do all right. Sam Sapphire Private Eyes here. How you doing, Sam? Good morning to you. Nice to know another Central Floridian. Go Mickey Mouse and Mitch. Yeah. Yes. I'm looking for the questions, looking for the cues. It's already 9:30. Wow. Where does the time go? I just said good morning and an hour's gone already. Yeah, we have a question here from Sam. It says, hit Mitch and squad for someone who thinks salmon, crab, shrimp, and sardines are too fishy and briny. Would you all recommend lobster scallops, cod, and flounder? That's not a question for me, but for the general crowd. Can answer that if you'd like. I'd recommend ribeyes mostly. I'm about down to having fish one time a week maybe. Problem is, you got to find fish that hasn't been completely and totally adulterated. If you ever watched some of the good, hard scientific looks at what they're doing to salmon, farm raising them, you'd never eat another bite of farm raised salmon. I mean, it's disgusting what those fish are living in and swimming in. It's enough to, get unbelievable the conditions that those fish live in farm raising. And you think, wow, they're in big pens out in the ocean. Yeah. They can't be out in the ocean. They have to be sheltered. They got them in there packed so tight that basically what happens is they're all eating and crapping all the crap that they're excreting on a daily basis. So all these fish that are crammed in like chickens in a chicken coop is settling to the floor of the ocean right underneath the pen and polluting the hell out of the water that the fish are living in, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse the longer it goes. They're not cleaning that scrap off the bottom like you do with a bird cage. And it just gets worse, 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 worse. So where the fish are basically born, raised, and swimming constantly and drinking their own excrement is not the kind of stuff I want to be eating, to tell you the truth. And even the tricks they play naming wild-caught fish, according to some rule or regulation, like using the word organic on the label, that's all fraud too. So it's harder and harder to find good food. And who knows what to believe. Do the best you can. That's why just trying to find just beef, you say, well, how much can they actually ruin beef? I don't think they can make it deadly yet. But it's horrible. It's horrible. We are ruining the food supply for the human race, and the human race is paying the price. Paying the price. Well, I see my cell phone went off. Could it be a coffee? No coffees. Hello, cell phone. Let me unlock it here. Why won't it unlock? Open. It's not reading my fingerprint for some reason. Well, foo. All right. Is anything important? I did get a coffee. I did get a coffee, Captain America. Another great rant, Professor. Thank you, Steve Rogers. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, but it didn't notify me. Wow. But it was there. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much, my friend. See. DS111 and oh my gosh, are talking about, evidently commenting when I talked about the ads that were on the news. That's how far behind I am. Yeah, they're banned in many countries. They won't let them. It's like lawyers. Lawyers here are allowed to advertise how much money they won for somebody. That's shameful. That's shameful. That turns people's misfortunes into a lottery ticket. Okay. For the third time this morning, someone asked if I use iodine drops. Dr. Burry recommends. Oh, well, Dr. Mitch recommends too. You know, if I had become a doctor, do you think I'd be Dr. Mitch and be on TV like Dr. Mike and the rest of those guys? Spewing propaganda? Scary, isn't it? I could do that, I guess. They pay me enough money. But then they all sell out, every one of them, except for a very few. They become YouTubers. Meathead Kurt says, it's all BS here. Take this pill, which will help this problem, but it could possibly cause 100 other health problems with 20 side effects. So, and then logical extension of that is, so here's another 100 pills to counteract the side effects of the first 20. And so it goes, and buy stock in Walgreens. That's my advice. If I was smart, I would have invested heavily in drug companies 40 years ago, and I would be living the retirement of my dreams today with the big house on the ocean and the big yacht out back. Not me. I had to do it the hard way. Peter had a question. Do. Good advice, Peter. Good advice. Question. Here it is. Do. Okay, good. Do you have any prospects for new coffees, brands, once you finish with the Amazon coffee? No, I haven't had time, Peter. Honestly, it is something I intend to do, but I haven't started to look yet. Because that's another whole. You start, okay, YouTube, show me videos about good coffee. Oh, well, there's 10,000 videos to watch. Who do I believe? But that's just another rabbit hole. There's no shortage of advice out there. So the good thing is, I never consider myself a coffee gourmet. You know, basically, if it doesn't taste too horrible and it's black and it gives me, and has caffeine in it, I would like it. And now I'm constrained by the necessity to use, according to what I believe now, the necessity to use the paper filter. So that eliminates all the esoteric coffee makers and espresso machines that look like nuclear power plants with all the plumbing. You know, those Italian things that cost $10,000 and have steam vents on them and smokestacks and milk frothers and basically a $19 Mr. Coffee is probably better, although I think I'm going to try to find a coffee maker. Not that I'm a real plastics guy, you know, I don't agonize over microplastics and that. I try to avoid them when I can, but same thing with the ceramic coatings on air fryer grills. As long as it claims they're PFAS free and everything, I don't do enough of that to worry about it killing me. I'm more worried about doctors killing me. That's the imminent threat to my life. It's not drinking out of a plastic drinking straw. It's going into a doctor's office and turning myself over to them and their nonsense. Unfortunately, things do go wrong that need to be fixed. They're usually broken things and plumbing things. But stay out of my cellular biology, will you please? And don't give me diet advice. Randy Weichel bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great day, he says. I appreciate that. I wonder why. Oh, there it is. That's just a Gmail. Okay. All right. Maybe it's time. Once in a while, I got to reboot the cell phones. I think maybe it's time for that. But thank you so much. Thank you. So, Peter, no. Hi, y'all. This is Sam again, who misses chips and... No, I'm sorry. I'm not in chips and dip. I eat pork rinds occasionally, but only with a meal. I'm a stickler for that. That's one of the things I changed way back, before carnivore, before keto. And that was snacking never ends well. As a carb addict, snacking never end well. Snacking always led to the end and failure of any eating regimen ever. Put it all the way back on. Finally got disgusted with myself. Went back on proper eating. The minute I started to even think about food between meals, it was over. So I'm a stickler. So whenever I see somebody come out with carnivore snacks, I say, goodbye. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to know. That is wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. We are not grazers. We're really better suited to just one meal a day. When you went into the cave, they didn't have a fridge and a pantry. They had a place where the meat was. And that was it. And you didn't. The digestion that we have is not designed to be constantly piled on. It's like a dishwasher cycle. Load it up, press start, come back in a few hours after it's dealt with. Same thing with a washing machine. Same thing with a car wash. It has to go through all the steps. Don't fool with it mid-cycle. Well, when you just had a full meal and an hour later you're back snacking again, your mouth never stops. You keep piling undigested food on top of the digested food. Then you got to drink a whole bunch of liquids, so you dilute the stomach acid. You screw up your digestion something fierce, and you wonder why. You need to take Tums. Snacking, a no-no. If you have and get so hungry that you need to eat something, you make it a meal. I like to eat some pork rinds. I don't eat them between meals. I will make a side dish out of them and eat them with my meal. So I don't do the snacking. And the question said, don't stray too far. Anyone having a complete clean out of your pantry when you start? Yes, that is important and almost necessary if you're a carb addict. But if you have people in the house that have snacks, they're going to have snacks there. Nothing you can do about that. It's probably going to sabotage it. Probably going to make you fail. They don't know what they're doing. It's not intentional. But there are some people, and I'm one of them, that just can't be around people eating pizza and ice cream all the time. I don't have the willpower. I'm at least honest enough with myself and not so arrogant as to think that I actually have any control over ancient physiology that gets what it wants and needs through instincts. Not being so arrogant as to think you can outsmart it. Sorry. You can understand it, but you'll never outsmart it. And don't the food companies know it and the scientists that work for them? And it's no secret that those scientists that work for the food companies, whose specialty is addiction and addicting people to substances, that they all worked for the tobacco companies that eventually bought the food companies. When it became politically incorrect to sell tobacco products to children, they just shifted their focus to Tony the Tiger and breakfast foods to addicted children, and that's perfectly okay because they were allowed to put the words heart healthy on all those packages. We've been had, people. And we're being had every day. And we were being had this morning every 5 minutes on the morning news by the crap that they keep throwing in our face and the pictures of stuff that we're so hardly addicted to that we can't avoid them. And the evidence that that is happening is the fact you can't get in to see your doctor anymore. Not for 3 months. The demand, too many people are sick. That's not right. How do they spin that out? How do they spin that out? Aaron, it's 1,800 subscribers. Hey, congratulations. Wait a minute, Aaron. Yes, congratulations.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Glad to see that. Am I doing on time? 9:15. I'm half an hour behind. I give up trying to end this thing on time. Meathead says, question, spoken like a true realist. Way to go, Mitch. Yeah, I am a realist. I'm a realist. Sam, these questions are not for me. Not for me. They're questions for the general population. I saw the words Finlandia butter. Never heard of it. Don't want to know. And if somebody reads that question and can help Sam out, just chime in. Chime in. Okay, please go. Ames B says, please repeat what you are putting in your coffee. Leucine, Leucine, one of the essential amino acids. Lysine is a whole different story. This is leucine, an amino acid. And I'm doing it because it will give a real jolt start in combination with the caffeine on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. They give a real threshold push to a process referred to as mTOR, which stimulates so many things, especially protein, muscle protein synthesis, and the rebuilding of muscles that in older people are atrophying due to something called sarcopenia, which is why old people need to buy those chairs and do commercials on TV that say, it helps me to get up. I don't want to be that old person. I want to be the old person that springs up out of the chair, comes back down to the ground after. And fortunately now, even after the stroke, I'm doing that again. And I don't want to lose that, because when you lose that, you are beginning the final transition into death. When you lose that level of mobility, everything else just starts to fail along with it. And that's normal. Dying is a normal process. I'm not ready yet. I'm only 78 years old. And I'm just not ready to. Yeah, so I'm fighting like hell. And trying to fight smart. Not just shadow box. So if somebody answered, VJS answers Sam's question about the butter. Good. See? You see that? And VJS says, Leucine, L-U-C-I-N. I don't know what that is either. Leucine, L-E-U-C-I-N-E. Leucine. Not creatine, leucine. Not a compound, an amino acid. One of the 20 amino acids that build everything. One of the 9 essential amino acids that you must find exogenously, which means from outside the body, because we don't make it. You got to eat it. That's what an essential amino acid is. Essential amino acid is an amino acid without which life cannot go on, that you must provide to your body from an outside source. The other 11 amino acids that aren't essential, our bodies can manufacture them internally. So when you hear about an essential amino acid, you basically have to think to yourself, it's essential for me to make sure I am eating it. The good news is animal products contain all the amino acids. And leucine is very, very abundant, especially in dairy products. And you can, and have been, as a carnivore, getting all the leucine your little heart ever needs. That's why we're so healthy. We're getting these things. But in order to coax mTOR over that threshold to supercharge those pathways that are responsible for muscle protein synthesis to fight the effects of sarcopenia and old age, you can supplement it. Even if you think you're getting enough, you can put it to better use by this regimen, which is pretty simple, and that's what I'm experimenting with. And so far, so good. We'll see. And there's really no downside to it. You're not going to overdose on this stuff, not with 5 grams of it, for God's sakes. Any more questions? Because we are getting close to 10 o'clock. 9:20, still a half an hour behind. Okay. Gotta hurry. If I missed any questions today, my standard boilerplate apology applies. Here's one. What is this? John Schaefer question. Unnamed online doc yesterday and said grass-fed beef has no more omega-3 fatty acid than grain-fed. What say you, Mitch? Well, let me. Oh God, that is such a ludicrous claim, because there's so many variables there. You couldn't possibly say that about anything. Which particular cow are you talking about? Which particular pasture was he grazing in? What's the history of that pasture? You can't just lump all cows together and say that any cow that eats grass has this, all cows eat grass. There's not a cow raised that doesn't eat grass. When it says grass-fed cattle, that means all cattle. This grain-fed bullshit only means how they're finished, how they spend the last couple months of their life before they're slaughtered. Finished. That'd be like you as a human being living 60 years of your life eating this, and in the last 6 months they fed you that. Again, propaganda, misnomers, factory farming, sustainable ranchers, all this stuff. We can't live like that anymore. There are 9 billion people on this planet that need to eat something. I'm sorry, the family farm in Iowa cannot feed them. They need the factories. We're outgrowing the ability to live a healthy life on this planet. It's getting harder and harder and more expensive to find this. If we were smart, us carnivores that have figured it all out, we wouldn't tell anybody. We'd be right out there with the rest of them saying, eat the cereals, eat the fruits, eat the vegetables, eat all that healthy shit. Then we'd be saying, stay away from the meat counter, will you? Because we won't be able to get it. We're digging our own grave trying to be good guys. So I think it's a great question. And if some online doctor is making a big point about the amount of omega-3 ratios, yeah, it's a consideration. So are 10 million other chemical reactions and ratios of things that happen in the human body that is so complex that nobody understands it to this day. Everything. And the people that come on and profess to know that much and that important are the Nick Norwitzes of the world, a nice young man who I admire greatly, but that nobody can follow because nobody is a PhD research scientist and a graduate of Harvard MD and still a child. We need people like that, but the problem is, one-on-one, we're nowhere in that level of the weeds to be able to understand anything they say or put it to practical use, which is why the question of worrying about which beef has a better ratio of omega-3 fatty acids to omega-6 And that's just a broad category because there's a lot of different kinds of omega-3 fat. There's DHA, there's EPA. Don't worry, forget it. You're agonizing over minutia that you have no control over anyway and don't know whether it's even valid. And maybe I'm wrong, but if you learn nothing from me, is that those weeds that you keep finding yourself in are dangerous and will snare you. And in most cases, if you never found the weed patch in the first place, you'd be much better off. Don't worry about it. Go to Sam's Club, buy a steak. Get past the propaganda and buy them. I try to talk about that. Of all the lousy, unhealthy eggs that I can find in Sam's Club, this is the one I think is the least lousy and the least unhealthy. And sometimes, for practicality's sake, that may just be the best that we can do in this cesspool food supply that we live in. And you have to settle for that because 8 or 9 billion other people are competing with you for that hand massage Wagyu, like Ken Berry says, panda raised cow from the family farm in Wichita. Hey, there's a rant worth knowing. Thank you for the question. It's a great question though, but it's a lot deeper than what you think. It isn't all about the omega-3 to 6 ratio. It's about this absolute sad state of propaganda, medical misinformation, and us being told what we need to pay attention to, which is probably wrong in the first place. You can't know these things. You just can't. I hope that when I go off like that, you can sense the frustration in me. It's like a herd of sheep. And I'm like the sheepdog, trying to keep them on the straight and narrow, and they're wandering off everywhere, exploring every nook and cranny. We're not getting to the goal. We're not getting to the destination. Keep your eye on the ball. We don't even know what the ball's supposed to look like these days. Everybody is there, and the agenda just wants to steer you towards buying what they're selling. Sometimes I just want to drop out, turn the world off, listen to music, not the noise. Yes, there we go. Steve Rogers, show Mitch some love with likes and some coffee. Yes, please. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. This is a man who leads by example. So, Sonny's Barbecue is the recipe. Works for me. No, it's not. Sonny's Barbecue adulterates their food. It adulterates. They put some rub and some sugar on their beef. And once every 3 weeks, maybe once a month, I have lunch there with my son. Because I want to have lunch with my son. And the best we can do, the least bad place we can go is a barbecue place. And there's a number of them, and some of them put more shit on their beef and ruin it, and some less. Well, we found that Sonny's ruins their beef less. So once a month, once every couple of weeks, I will allow myself to eat a little bit of that rub they put on their brisket and not be a tight ass about it. Just like Kelsey says, nobody can be that perfect. And we're not built to be that perfect. We can handle it. The only thing that I worry about is, will something trigger my addiction? If it triggers my addiction, I'm avoiding it. If it doesn't trigger my addiction, and it's a couple grams of exogenous sugar once every couple weeks but would I do it every day at home? No. I use salt at home. That's it. So don't be so hard on yourself. I know that was a joke, but that just proves the point again about how stupid we are and how we agonize over things that make no difference. We live in a cesspool. We're going to get shitty. There's nothing we can do about it. Just try to stay as clean as you can within reason, because none of us are going to live forever. And some of the things we worry about are so small and insignificant and blown out of proportion because somebody's trying to sell you the cure that maybe they'd kill you if you lived to be 700 years old. I'm not going to worry about the things that might kill me at 700 years old because I'll be long gone before things ever got that bad. And some of the stuff, they don't even know if they are that harmful. Everybody talks about microplastics. I have yet to see that on a death certificate anywhere. Has anybody ever had a death certificate where the doctor said he died of microplastics? We don't know. We don't know. I just rage against the absurdity that people get so serious about. So yeah, I go to Sundays and I eat a little bit of rub with a little bit of sugar in it. Not frequently, but every once in a while, so that I can have lunch with my son. Yeah, I'm gonna be here all day if I keep this up. I don't know if I'm feeling very energetic and certainly very passionate about some of these things. What is your take on Manjaro? I don't have the time to go into that now. I think that Ozempic, Manjaro, Wegovy should be outlawed. I think that these doctors, some of them very prominent in our space, that use the term microdosing, should be put in jail. I think that this GLP-1 is the latest darling, glucagon-like peptide. They're going to be screwing up people even more than statins if they keep going. They're not solving any problems. Nobody will permanently lose the weight. They will lose muscle. They will kill themselves. They will cripple their digestive tract. When the greatest GLP-1 agonist of all times, the one answer is a ribeye or a hamburger. Because that's what they're trying to mimic without actually having to eat healthy. They want to try to get your body to be healthy, and there's too many subtleties. There are 50,000 different compounds in beef. So some aren't even named yet. 50,000 different compounds in meat. Who's to say that along with the GLP-1 agonist that might be one of those compounds, there isn't another compound that's needed just as much? And I guarantee you, there aren't 50,000 compounds in Ozempic or Wegovy. So my take on it is, it's another money grab. Health of the human race and future of the human race be damned. We don't care. Casualties of war. Is that strong? I think so. I think so. Addiction gets triggered daily. He's not, I don't know what that says, but Gary, member for 11 months. How you doing, Gary? So you guys are having some very deep descriptions while I'm busy ranting and raving over here, trying to get to the end of this chat. It's interesting, though. We've still got a lot of people hanging in here. Unfortunately, I'm not getting paid by the hour, so I don't worry about it. Does a 90-minute rant so far. Yeah, it's great, Loretta. Thanks, Loretta. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. It feels good to get this stuff out. There's something very cleansing about pointing out absurdity, especially if it's looking at things in a way that maybe you haven't looked before, because it might make you less likely to fall for this stuff. And it's just getting out of hand. This world is getting out of hand. It was always this way, but we never noticed it as much. But now, everything's in our face constantly. It's always on the news. It's always on the billboards. It's always in the chats. It's always on somebody's YouTube video. $1 Million Rants today. Thank you, Loretta. I hope I'm making some sense. And if you disagree with me on any of these things, feel free. Feel free. I won't debate you on it. But feel free. It doesn't scare me. I'm all the way at home after all. That's what I love. I shouldn't scare anybody. I'm not a threat to anybody, except maybe all those people that are making all that money ripping all of us off. And I don't think there's too many people that can disagree that the scam artists are running the world right now. Just every time you get a robocall or a phishing email, that should convince you of that. And the internet has enabled them to do this from the comfort and safety of their very own home in Nigeria. Okay, as I want to get. Okay, I'm sneaking up on it. I'm sneaking up at 10:10, 1 minute behind. I did it. Robocall. DS111 and VJS says, "Go, Mitch, go." Go where? You guys want to get rid of me? Oh, I get it. I'm joking. And Rick says, "Robocallers cannot get through my phone system." Yeah, I tried. I'm on every, but they still do get through. I got it. Oh God, should we really need to do that just to live in this world? And we are targets. Sometimes I feel like every time I move, I envision myself through the sight of a rifle. Somebody's targeting me every second of the day to figure out how to scam me, steal from me, get me to buy something I don't need. It's an onslaught, and it's everywhere, and it's getting worse because you can't do anything without the ads popping up. And every day it's more and more ads, more and more. The cable TV that you paid for because is now 20 to 30 minutes an hour of ads. The YouTube that you used to be able to watch for free, you have to pay now to not see the ads. The Amazon Prime that you subscribe to because of Amazon Video, now you got to pay extra money in order to not see the ads. It just keeps getting more. They just keep monetizing everything. There's only one guy on this planet that's not making any money, doing all the work, and that's me. Wow. Don't miss the super sticker, says Carnivore Edens. Yes, I see it there. Sorry, I'm so excited I missed it. $10 super sticker. Thank you, it says Carnivore Edens. Julia, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you pointed that out to me. Too bad, Peter says, Thomas is in here to listen to Mitch's answer about his great question about GLP-1s. Yeah. There are certain things I think that... Now, everything has an exception. There are people that may benefit from a statin or a PCSK9 inhibitor because they have a very rarer, different set of circumstances. There are people that probably are so far gone and so far addicted that about the only way to ever even help them might be microdosing the GLP-1s, semaglutides. The problem is nobody knows what they are or what they do or how they work unless you're somewhat of a scientist. I'm not supposed to be a scientist, according to one of my commenters. How could I possibly be? I didn't go to college to become a scientist, so it's impossible for anybody to have an inquisitive or logical mind, know how to troubleshoot, unless somebody taught them how. Bullshit. There's nothing in my entire life that I had to have somebody teach me that I didn't learn better by teaching myself. That includes computer programming, flying, everything, building. I never went to school for anything because I got bored in school. I got tired of being somebody trying to teach me something I knew was bullshit right off the bat. Same thing when I ran my computer company. I never sat in a classroom. I never listened to these seminars in the hotels, at the conventions. I just went out and learned what I needed to know. Same thing about all the internet stuff. Same thing about all the medicine that I know, the science that I know, the biochemistry that I know. Everything I taught myself. The information is there. You don't need somebody to read it to you because that's all they're doing. You can learn yourself and question everything. Are you always right? Hell no. Nobody can be. Nobody can be. But this is what age does to you, folks. This is why old people seem to get cranky. Young people don't understand. You'll be around for 50 or 60 more years, and you'll be cranky too. And you'll be going. You'll be like Walter here. Get off my lawn. It is the normal progression of finally just getting fed up with being a target. So we rail about it. We rage against it. That's the machine, and that's the way it works. It's the way it works. Listen, I think we've about had it. AMP says, Mitch, thank you for the information and personal information, not professional medical advice. That's easy to find. Just Google anything. It's a playbook there. You'll find it. Rick says, I had the same attitude as Mitch even at age 20. Yeah, Rick, I can imagine that. I can imagine. You're a realist. There's no doubt about that. Walter, that's why I have Walter here. I have Walter. My son bought me this. He says, this reminds me of you, Pop. I said, yeah, especially from the rear. You see the resemblance. So, my buddy, I keep him here on my desk. Keeps me well grounded. So thank you so much, people. Thank you so much. I'm going to get ready to take my day off tomorrow. That's it. No Mitch tomorrow. Maybe a video. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to keep going and try to enjoy life and actually live a little bit. I'll be back here Sunday morning with Morning Coffee with Mitch. Say, probably put out a video or two over the weekend and see you all Sunday morning. So take care. Take care, everybody. We almost got to 2 hours this morning, but it's been great. And I'm certainly energized. And I certainly think everybody's telling me they notice a difference in my energy level. So that's good. That's great. Loretta's waving, and Grace Lily, and Rick says goodbye, and Lori says goodbye, Mary M, Aunt B, Danny in Boston, and everybody else that's here. Thanks so much for coming today. Thank you so much. Carnivore Edens, thank you for the super chat, and thanks for the coffees. Really appreciate everything you do. And I hope something I said today made a little difference somewhere, so it was all worthwhile. And wait for the music to end. Try to make it like professional show business. Here it comes. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.